morning, friends. Very chilly day. All of us need energy. My dear friend, Mr. Patrick Lederman, all the officials of Infoline, and all the participants who are present here. It's indeed a pleasure to be amongst all of you and to discuss the area which is very important for the country's growth, and a subject which is very dear to my heart. In fact, the topic which has been selected is Indian power sector ready for ultra supercritical power plant. This needs to be viewed in light of two areas. One is the current requirements for the country, another is the environment. All of you are aware that on one hand, we are talking of the accelerated growth in the country. We want to become at least the second largest economy in the world in the coming years. On the other hand, there is issues of the coal availability as well as the environmental concerns. Hence, the technology which we select for the power generation has to address all these issues. To begin with, let's talk of some of the statistics which my friend Ashwini has already talked of. But let me summarize that. India, you know, is the third largest economy in the PPP terms and the 10th largest on the nominal GDP basis. We are the second fastest growing economy in the world, fourth largest energy consumer, and very soon we are expected to become the third largest energy consumer in the world. As a result, what is happening? The requirement of power is growing multifold in this country, and coupled with that, there is a high urbanization which Mr. Ashwini was talking about, smart cities. There is an aspiring and growing middle class. All this is leading to the increase in the power requirement in this country. Today, we are talking of that we have 255 gigawatt of the installed capacity. There are a number of projections, number of studies have been undertaken which talk that in another 10 years time it will be doubled. In the next 2 decades, fourfold increase will be there. We are talking of 800 gigawatt in 2032. Even if the 800 gigawatt doesn't come, but still the point, all these trends indicate towards the immense demand of power plant capacities in the country. Let's now analyze the 255 gigawatt of the installed capacity which is there in the country. Out of that, nearly 60% comes from the coal-based power plant, that is 153 gigawatt approximately. But this 60% contribute to over 80% of the total power generation in the country. So hence, at least for the next 2 to 3 decades, coal-based power projects is going to be the mainstay of power generation. That's a fact. And let's accept the fact, we as a developing countries, we cannot be in the league of the USA or maybe the other European countries. We are going to close down the coal-based power projects, or we are going to have the more of the shale gas power projects, gas-based power projects, because we cannot have the luxury at the moment till the time you attain that kind of growth which we are aimed for us. Now the issue comes, what is to be done? Basically, there is World Energy Council was held about few months back, and I was going through their proceedings. They were talking about 3 components of energy trilemma. One is the energy security, which means our ability to meet the current and the future energy demands, considering the fuel uncertainties. That's the first, energy security. Second is the energy equity, because in India, the energy has to be affordable, it has to be widely available. And the third, of course, is environment sustainability. Environment sustainability means we have to give the cleaner energy with the higher efficiency and reduce carbon dioxide, carbon footprints. You people might be aware, all of you are, because the CO2 emissions which happen in the country, almost 38% of these emissions are contributed by the coal-based power projects. So somehow the efficiencies of these power plants have to go up, so the coal consumption goes down, as well as the carbon emission also goes down. But we cannot wish away the coal-based power projects. Just to give you some statistics, in the 10th plan, the coal-based power projects were about 10,000 megawatt. In the 11th plan, they have gone to 44,000 megawatt. And in the 12th plan, we are talking of almost 70,000 megawatt plan, and contributing nearly 80% of the total installed capacity. Total capacity which has to be installed or added during the 12th plan. Same trend is likely to continue in the 13th plan period also. So what is to be done? We have to deliver the energy from the coal-based power projects by having the higher efficiency. Higher efficiency, all of you are aware, can come through many means, like optimizing the combustion process, increasing the steam parameters, or reducing the condenser pressure, improving the internal efficiencies of the steam turbines. Many methods can be used, but parallelly we have to keep a tab on the CO2 emissions also. Recently there have been a lot of developments. About at least 1 or 2 decades have been decades of development in the field of steam turbine technology because of the invention of many high temperature materials also. BHEL, which is the largest engineering and manufacturing organization of its kind in the country, which has the experience of almost 1,25,000 megawatt, having the presence in over 76 countries across the globe in all the 6 inhabited continents. We are keeping tab on all these developments and are confident that we can, in all these developments, we can be in the forefront in this country, and the new technologies can be introduced in this country. Based on the steam parameters, already Mr. Dhar was mentioning the kind of subcritical, supercritical, and basically you can define in the 4 categories. One is the subcritical, one is the conventional supercritical, one is the supercritical with the ultra supercritical parameter, and the 4th is, which I will touch upon, is the advanced ultra supercritical. Subcritical, up to 10th plan, all the power plants which came were based on subcritical parameters, which you know basically, which were having the efficiency of almost 38 to 39%, with the parameters of MS pressure as 170 at a typical, and MS temperature, mainstream temperature is 537 degrees centigrade, reheat temperature 537 degrees centigrade or 565 degrees centigrade, and after that then came the supercritical, which operates at a pressure of 225.6 at anything above that comes to supercritical plants. We started talking about the supercritical parameter, then conventional supercritical came in the market, which are talking of efficiency of 41 to 42%, 7% higher than the subcritical. With the typical parameter, if you see, 247 at MS pressure, 565 degrees centigrade MS temperature, 593 degrees centigrade RH temperature. But there was an issue here. When CEA, they decided to introduce in the country the supercritical parameters, but somehow they were not fully defined. I am sure that our subsequent speakers would be talking on this particular aspect. And what happened? In the name of supercritical technology, in the name of supercritical power plants, the plants which are supplied by some of the overseas suppliers were having the parameters equivalent to even subcritical. I'll not like to touch upon, the subsequent speaker will talk about it, but the reality is this. On paper it was known as the supercritical, but in the reality the parameter was equivalent to subcritical. And subsequently BHEL, when we developed the 300 megawatt steam turbine, that was giving equivalent to the much better parameters, even the supercritical which were being supplied by them. That's the reality. Second, we are talking about the ultra supercritical. Basically there is a lot of confusion. What is to be called the ultra supercritical? In fact, you go to the different countries have got the different definition. Japan says that main steam pressure is if it is more than 242 bar, or steam temperature is more than 593 degrees centigrade, then it should be called ultra supercritical. In Denmark says more than 275 bar, if then it is ultra supercritical. China says 270 bar, more than 270 bar, it's ultra supercritical. USA they say if main steam temperature is more than 593 degrees centigrade, it's ultra supercritical. In India, I feel that so far the conventional supercritical we are giving 593 degrees centigrade. Any temperature where we are giving more than 593 degrees centigrade, it is called the ultra supercritical. BHEL has recently got an order from NTPC, North Karampura 3 into 660 megawatt, which was the largest ever order awarded by NTPC in its history. That's being executed by BHEL. There we have given certain parameters which are very close to the ultra supercritical. And this particular power plant also has the distinction of being supplied with the dry cooling system, that is the air cooled condenser, which is the first time in the country such a large power plant will be equipped with. And in this particular plant, we are giving the MS pressure at 260 atta, MS temperature 593 and rear temperature also 593 degrees centigrade. Basically, we could have gone beyond that also, but it got restricted because of the material which was allowed to be used was up to P91 material. P92 material was not allowed to be used. If P92 material is used, then it can go further also. There is another talk in the country about the 1000 megawatt power projects now. Japan has got, China has got 1000 megawatt. Maybe in the coming years 1000 megawatt may also come in the country also. Already few projects are being discussed. In those also ultra supercritical parameters are bound to be there. But the point is our country is ready for this technology. BHEL as an organization is fully equipped to provide the state of the art technology equipment to this country. Now let me talk about the advanced ultra supercritical. Many of you may be aware, but I thought this is an area where this country has ventured into for development of advanced ultra supercritical. At the moment in the world it is not available. We are talking about 46-47% of the efficiencies. This is a very interesting development which is taking place across the globe, and fortunately India is not behind. I was talking in one of the conference in Gujarat about a month back. There I said that if India is able to develop this advanced ultra supercritical, it will be equivalent to Mission Mangal, not lower than that. Because in this particular area, in the steam turbine technology, etc., we have been follower in India. First time we have taken a lead where BHEL, NTPC and IG CAR have joined hands together. We are going to spend almost 1600 crores with the support of the government. This particular project has been taken under the National Mission on Clean Coal Technologies as well as National Action Plan for the Climate Change. We are talking of 46 to 47% efficiencies there. Just imagine, because all of you are from this background, it will lead to 16 to 20% lower coal consumption. If it is developed, it will lead to 16 to 20% CO2 emission, lower CO2 emission. And if you see the 800 megawatt comparison, 8 lakhs tons per year lower coal consumption as compared to the supercritical. We have done some back of the envelope calculations. If in the country 10 to 15 advanced ultra supercritical power projects come, it will lead to an annual saving of 12,000 to 15,000 crores per annum. And that's going to be the reality. And the spin-off effects, the kind of material which will develop can be used in many industries. It can be used in the aviation. It can be used in the refinery. Basically, in these particular projects, in the advanced ultra supercritical, after detailed deliberations, our engineers, along with NTPC and IGCAR, we have defined certain parameters. We are talking of developing the technologies with MS pressure of 310 attar, MS temperature 710 degrees centigrade, RH temperature of 720 degrees centigrade. Hopefully things should happen. Things are moving already. Our Honorable Finance Minister in the current year budget itself have provided 100 crores for these developments. BHEL, you know, is the highest R&D spender in the country. We are every year, our patent registration, our patent filing is more than one per day. Last year, we filed the patents 434 in 13-14. The kind of, because we are in the business, that's a fact, BHEL in the business of making money also, for the growth also, profitability also. But on the other hand, we have to show the path to the country that we are in the forefront of technology development and we are not lagging behind as compared to other countries. This is an area which, if developed, this country will be proud of. But there are a lot of challenges. Challenges will be, if I touch upon, in the terms of material. Material, you just see. It's very easy to say you develop. You increase the, just now Ashwini was talking about that so much degree temperature goes up, so much will be advantage. Theoretically, it sounds very good. Why can't it be developed? Any man can say. But you see the challenges. I'll touch upon 2-3 points. You talk about material. Material will be, new alloys will be required. Nickel-based alloys will be required. Heat treatment will be difficult. Welding of new similar and dissimilar material will be difficult. Design. New HBDs will have to be developed. New startup cycles will have to be developed. New blade designs have to be developed, which are getting developed. But production is another very difficult area for these kind of things. New toolings are required. Welded, the rotors will be welded. We will have to do the dissimilar material welding. Post-welding heat treatment also has to be thought of. New toolings will be required. And just talk of the cost. At the moment we are not very sensitized about the cost, because our main focus is on the development. Cost. Nickel-based alloys are more than 10 times costlier as compared to 10 chrome steel. That's the reality. We have to find out the material which is the cost effective. Fortunately, IGCAR has the experience in the material development. We are working with Medhanis also. Then availability. In the country, that kind of large castings and large forgings are not available for the raw materials. Then what should you develop? Testing becomes another issue. Where to test that? But we are going whole hog. We are spending lot of money. Lot of money is being spent by BHEL, IGCAR, NTPC, as well as the government. The timeline has been, but I am happy. At least India has started thinking big. We have started dreaming. We never thought that we can be pioneer in these fields, but some beginning has been made. We have made a plan that in 2.5 years, the plan for advanced ultra supercritical ready, at least development will be ready. After that, NTPC will be implementing it, which will take another 3 to 4 or 5 years. That period has been, and most likely, if it is developed, India will not be behind the other developed economies. In fact, at the moment, we are being approached by many European companies, many USA companies also, because in USA, the investments in coal-based power projects is going down because they are closing down. If anybody can do in the world, it's India. India can do. Of course, China is also going full whole hog in this. I think I've taken more than the time required. But the point which I am trying to make, India is ready for the ultra supercritical, or even in the later period after 1 decade or 7 to 8 years for the advanced ultra supercritical also. BHEL, which has been contracted more than 35 supercritical sets, is fully capable, fully prepared for meeting all these challenges, because even if you see the performance front, the performance of BHEL sets, their analysis has been done by CEA. is much better than the Chinese set, much better. I'm not here for the marketing mission to tell you, but I'm just it came to mind, so I started talking about. Comparison has been made with the performance of any RC, that where we talk of North America, Canada, and part of the Europe, about the plant load factor and the operating availability of the BHEL supplied sets and those sets, it comes out to be much better even than that. So country is fully equipped. It's not only the BHEL which has to take the credit, it's the people who are operating it. So basically, country can do this thing. And the second aspect is challenges when we are giving all these new technologies, training of people, O&M staff. Because ultimately it's not the initial investment which is important. It has to run for 3 decades, 4 decades. And then we need to train all the customers, all the people, all the operators. Just to conclude, I like to say that country is ready. To begin with the whatsoever, topic of the conference is given, country is ready. Only thing, we have to prepare the people to implement this technology in this country. What's going to lead to the lower CO2 emission? It's going to lead to the lower fuel cost, and definitely when others can do. Now the time has changed. The country is confident. We have the feeling that anything which can be done in the world, that can be done by our country also. That kind of pride we need to carry. We cannot be followers. We have to be leaders. With these few words, I will wish this particular conference a success, and definitely I feel that all of you will have very useful interaction. Thank you very much.